All right, I'm going to tell you some quick audio stories. And you're like, audio? Yeah. The first place I worked, the guy had something wrong with his hearing. And he said that putting a stereo headphones on or listening to stereo made him nauseous. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. He goes, no. He had some type of hearing defect of some sort. And he could sing pretty good. You hear him in the back room singing arias or whatever you want to call operas and stuff. And he told me that my music teacher made him do like some type of captain song. It wasn't Pirates of Penzance, but it was basically some type of pirate musical when he was in school. It was a big production. He had the lead. And when I went to the school, same music teacher, we just sang songs as a group. Once in a while a solo. But that was my first experience with someone that said that stereo made them nauseous. Now the next one was a friend of mine just got this nice stereo system for his parents for Christmas. And I went in, I'm looking, I'm like, this is decent. He goes, there's a funny noise. So he puts the AM radio on first. He says, see how clear that is? I said, yeah, that's clear, but it's slightly wider in range than a telephone. You know, it's AM. So he turns FM on, and it's crystal freaking clear. And he says, you don't hear all those noises? And I said, no. I said, it really sounds good to me. And he says, everybody he's been showing the stereo to has been telling him it sounds really good. So I went over and I cranked the tone control all the way. He says, what did you do? I said, I turned the tone control all the way on. Now it's basically giving you the range of AM broadcasts. Now he was happy. He says, that sounds great. I was like, oh, brother. And then the next audio thing was, I was in tech school, and there was one kid that had incredible hearing. I brought in my remote control for my Admiral set, and when you press the buttons, it would put a tone out, an audio tone, not infrared, audio tone. And this kid could actually hear it. And then another kid in the classroom, if you took two silver quarters and you clanged them together in your fingers, you held them on the tips of your fingers like cymbals and hit them, he could only hear a thud noise. He couldn't hear the coins ringing. So I questioned him, and he told me he played bass guitar in a band, and he knew he was losing his hearing. So you got to have really good hearing. At a young age, you have to be around really good music and a really good system, and your brain develops a certain way. If not, if you don't play music and you're not really into, you're a tin ear, okay? I had this guy explain it to me. He says, everybody perceives music a different way. Everybody sees colors a different way. There are people that are colorblind. There are tin ears. Now, if you go on the internet, you go around, you got all these old men, they're as old as me, telling you basically vinyl is better than CDs and tubes are better than transistors. Well, they're not tin ears, they're old farts. They've lost their hearing. Now, when you listen to stereos when you're younger, say you have really good ears, you're not a tin ear, you listen to it, and you realize that a transistor unit, when they came out, had more bass than a tube unit. A tube unit had trouble giving you the bass. So I had experience with Fisher sets, and they were the top of the line. Let's just say a Fisher unit tube was $500. Well, there was this guy that bought a Fisher unit, and I used to service it. So after so many years, he decided to buy a transistor unit. All right, now listen to all the things he did wrong. The Fisher was $500. Years later, he bought the transistor unit for $175. There's a red flag right there. He couldn't see the red flag. I kept saying, you spent $500 for Fisher. Yeah, now you only spent $175 for a transistor unit, and now you're comparing it. And there was another guy next to him, yupping it up with him. I said, first of all, you're 45 years old. What does that have to do with it? Your hearing's gone. You work around machinery all day long, both of them. I said, your hearing is gone. You don't even notice it. If you go to a hearing doctor, he'll check your hearing. He'll tell you you're okay for your age, but he won't tell you how bad your hearing has gotten. Well, they claim this transistor unit had a bunch of noises. And I listened to it, and I was younger at the time, and I'm like, no, there's no noises there. Well, yeah, cymbals are more crisp. A saxophone is more crisp. Okay, I'll use the word crisp. Someone says, "Oh, brilliant's the real word. Brilliant is brilliant." I'll use the word crisp just to annoy you. Cymbals have a certain ringing sound. There's so many different types of cymbals. Now, as you get older, the high ends will sound like noise to you. You'll hear secondary sounds in those noises as you lose your hearing. So these two guys with this stereo unit, it's $175. They get the bass turned off. And I said, well, that's why people buy this unit, is because it's got more bass than a tube unit. Well, they weren't buying that. Well, that's where they were wrong. So now one of the main features of this amplifier was it had good bass for younger people, and they turned that off. So now they're comparing just the top end. Well, the tube unit doesn't have a top end like a transistor has. It has a top end. All right, now let me get into what tubes do. Tubes are analog. The more signal you put into a tube, the more you start to get more output, and then all of a sudden it doesn't clip, it rounds off the signal. So any spikes or any brilliance of any instrument gets rounded over. It gets rounded over in the transformers that are in the set. Interstage transformers, output transformers. A transformer wants AC to go through it, or sinusoidal waves. It doesn't want square waves. So you get in modern music, they use synthesizers, speech processors, compressors. All that sound, when it goes through a tube amp, gets changed. All right? And it may sound nicer, smoother, more mellow than a transistor amp. But is that what you really want? Now, you can go off in another argument and say, well, how did they mix it? What did they want you to hear? What they mixed and what they recorded isn't what's coming out of the speakers. Yes, that's the thing. So you have to decide, what do you want to listen to? All right? Now, a real top-end transistor amplifier tries to reproduce the sound coming out of the stylus or out of the CD. Now, you can say, well, CDs, they don't sample enough. Yes, but everybody jumped to them because they're more convenient. Again, I tell you, it's all about price point. What the average person will buy. What the person that has money will buy. Okay? You got these guys in audio and they nitpick, oh, I got the A model. The A model's better than the C model, and the C isn't any good, and the A is better than the regular model. Blah, blah. It's all bullshit, okay? As I meet these people and talk to them, they never sat for hours at a time listening to music like I did, okay? I realized it was all about the equipment. Nitpicking, fixing this, adding that. We had people coming into the Radio Shack running super fat wire to the speakers. Oh, you lose wattage in the wires if they're too thin. Oh, the brilliance of the sound of the music is different unless you use, was it Firewire? I don't think it was Firewire. Well, anyway, they're told these things because someone has seen it on an oscilloscope in a test lab. Okay? I go right to the crux of the matter. What music are you listening to? What do you enjoy? You don't hear that, okay? They have 2 or 3 albums that they play when you come over and visit them to demonstrate their system. They don't sit there for hours at a time listening to music, all right? Oh, and the other thing too is they're stuck in the past. All right, I continue to buy new bands and records, and then I got into CDs where my friends were listening to the older stuff, and they bothered me about my records. I had a really big vinyl collection, and they kept teasing me about records. So I gave the records off to a radio station that was forming at one of the college, and they went bananas. And some of the kids that came and got the records actually took some of them out for themselves. But I donated the records, and they were mostly, I won't say top 40, I'd say top 100 of all-time rock bands, you know, and ballad music. Everything, you know, Jim Croce was in there, Beatles were in there, complete sets, Moody Blues, Joan Jett, more progressive stuff. I used to buy stuff that people were like, when I was checking out, they go, you're kind of old, you're buying that for somebody? Yeah, you're kind of old to be buying that. I said, I like this, you know, and I was buying stuff that other people that were teasing me about having records weren't buying. And I kept it going, and then finally I got old enough where certain music I could find on YouTube, and I wasn't buying it anymore, all right? But the whole audio thing with the tubes and the, tubes got a mellow sound. They use all these different terms. It's rounding off the notes. It's making it more pleasant to your old frickin' ears. Okay? You got some type of hearing loss. The top of your end of your hearing, a lot of things sound like sounds. As you get older, you'll notice in music you'll hear a doorbell ringing in the background or a strange noise. That's your ears. Okay? And you're like, no way, it's your ears. Now, the one funny thing happened with my father. I had a 8-track player in the cellar. We had like a rec room. And he'd sit and he'd listen to the same tape every night. And one night he says, one side of these headphones are louder than the other. And I looked at down at the controls, and the balance was in the middle. I said, turn the headphones around. What do you mean? Take the headphones out, turn them around, put the speaker on the opposite. So he does that. And I said, did the louder side move? No. I said, you don't understand what's wrong, right? No, well, what's wrong? I said, one of your ears is better than your others. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, if you turn the headphones around, put the right on the left and the left on the right, and it moved, the headphones are a problem. The stereo's got a problem. The balance control's off, okay? But since it didn't move, you have a hearing loss. So it took about 2 more years before he went to see an ear doctor, and he's basically going deaf, okay? Which I am too. I'm losing my hearing, but I'm 70 years old. He lost his in his 50s. I sit there and watch television with him, and he kept telling me, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And that's the clue that someone's losing their hearing. But I love it when I watch these old guys on YouTube. I'm in a 60s bubble, but you can't recommend any amplifier, any stereo, any piece of audio equipment because your hearing is gone, okay? You're over 50, forget it. In your 40s it starts, especially if you do a lot of hammering or you're around loud machinery, or you have a motorcycle and you go out at, hours at a time with a loud motorcycle, your hearing is diminished. You don't think so. You will start with oh boy, that guy mumbles. He doesn't mumble. Your hearing's going. And I said, person, he's talking perfectly. Well, he mumbles. I don't hear him. Old people, And I'd sit there and you say to yourself, he's not mumbling. And then I notice, and I tell people right away, my hearing's going. I don't want to wear a hearing aid because I don't want to have it on all day in my ear just to hear background noises from the neighborhood, okay? I tell people, and there's certain people, when I talk to me, I hear them perfectly clear because their audio range of their voice is perfect for my hearing. But I know I have a hearing problem. I knew years ago I was losing my hearing. But other people, it doesn't seem to, they don't understand that. And they're on there, and I bump into these YouTube videos because they use a deceiving thumbnail or a title, and then I turn it on, I see this guy's face, and I go, oh, not this guy again, and he's telling you which tube amp, and brilliance, and it's just hilarious stuff. But the best quote I ever saw was that guy Scotty, the motor guy with the cars. He tells you, people don't want to be educated, they want to be entertained. And it's absolutely true. My more entertaining videos get more views than my more technical ones, okay? But people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear it. Like I tell people, there's at least 100 videos of this thing. It's a piece of crap. Shit. Actually, it's not even crap. It's shit. If you put a really good antenna on it, the noise from the radio doesn't get on the antenna if you use shielded wire, so it'll work better. But I was watching some of the videos, and the guys on a band, there should be nothing basically on, and you see all these peaks. That's the unit itself, okay? It's real noisy. There's no shielding. It's a piece of garbage, all right? That's the honest truth, $100 for a piece of crap. Now, if you don't know any better, if you don't own something like this, and you understand what let me make sure it's in the frame. You understand what you can pick up on a 3-foot piece of wire or a telescopic antenna. If you don't know what you can get, one of my hairs fell out. If you don't know what you can get on this, you won't understand this, okay? And I do have a cell phone, and it's a flip phone. I only buy what I have to buy. And I bought this as a present to myself. I have two of them. One came with a blown front end. I'm still waiting for the parts from China. But I just wanted to, what do they call it, chime in on audio. And yeah, these people that collect this stuff, they're not really into music. They're into specs and to, I spent $800 for this two-tube amplifier. It was on back order, blah, 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 blah. You know, and then when you look at it, a lot of them don't have these big honking transformers. If you really saw a tube amplifier, Fisher's kind of like top-end consumer back in the day. Then you had Dynaco amps. Oh man, I worked with a guy. My father's got Dynaco amps. They're the best. Blah, 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 blah. Guy was a tin ear. He'd be singing a song in the back of the company when we were working, and he couldn't carry a note in a bucket. And it was so funny. This one guy started telling me. I was saying about different people I bumped into that didn't listen to music, that were all into the equipment itself. And he says they're tin ears. They go by specs and dollars and bragging, and they really don't really listen to music. Okay, they buy a couple albums just to show off their equipment, you know. And I was like, you got to be. He goes, no, they're tin ears. You know, he says, you like music. I said, yeah. I said, but I really can't carry a tune really good. I can carry a tune enough doing a funny joke, singing a song, putting different words in it. But to actually go out in front of people and sing a song, to be able to remember the words, yeah, that's something else. But I think that's it. I just wanted to log in because I am so tired of those videos on YouTube, and they recommend these things, and it's a bunch of BS. Let's say bullshit. This is not marked for children. All right, I think that's it. All right, that's it.